Ann Arbor, Michigan. Mike Sainristil is in an interesting spot in 2022. After having spent 3 years as a receiver, the senior will be splitting time, also playing on the defensive side of the ball. In fact, he may wholly be committed there. We won't know for sure until the season arrives. Why Michigan football might be further along than it was last year at this time, his being able to move to the defensive backs room is a product of the team having that luxury. While there were question marks heading into spring ball earlier in the year about who would start at corner, with DJ Turner and Gemon Green both stepping it up, Sainristil has become a part of the rotation rather than some kind of stopgap. What's more, the receiver unit is loaded, with not only every wideout from last year, but one, returning, but it's added 3 talented freshmen to the roster in Darrius Clemons, Tyler Morris, and Amorion Walker. Plus-size jersey paneled cotton maxi dress, white, 12 Ashley Stewart, add, Ashley Stewart, plus-size jersey paneled cotton maxi dress, white, 12 Ashley Stewart. Sainristil can see several young players who could be of the instant impact variety, led by elder statesmen who were eager to repeat last year's success rather than be satisfied with previous winnings. Definitely a lot of grit on this team. A lot of young guys have some stuff to them that this team is going to need, Sainristil said. And no one on this team right now is focusing on or banking on what we did last season. Everybody understands that this is a new team, we don't have those same guys we had last year. And even like as an individual, nobody is the same person they were last year. So, as guys continue stepping into different leadership roles, everyone's just focusing on making sure that this upcoming team is the best team it could possibly be. When Big Ten Network came to Ann Arbor last week, they said that Michigan football appeared to be much further along than it was at this time last year. But what does that look like? Sainristil details the various reasons, including the younger players, as well as the overall drive of this current team as being the key components pushing the maize and blue in fall camp. I would say sharpness in practice, Sainristil said. Young guys going from Bridge, the freshman academic program, coming to practice, understanding when they had their split time in practice, maize practice and blue practices, it's helped them tremendously, I would say. Guys are just very focused right now, and just everyone understands that we want to make it further than we did last year. So just everything that plays into that mindset is was helping us get to where we are right now. But we just know that we have a lot more to go. Though Sainristil looks like he could primarily be a defensive player in 2022, as a solely offensive and special teams player for the rest of his career, he has some thoughts on the current state of the offense. Having arrived in 2019, he spent his entire time working with Josh Gaddis, who oversaw both the offense and the wide receivers. Though he likes the moves that the Wolverines made upon Gaddis' untimely departure this winter, he still says that there are some elements that have to be worked out, considering neither Sharon Moore or Matt Weiss, the co-offensive coordinators, have held the job before. Regardless, he does like what he's been seeing as he goes up against the offense in camp, noting several position groups that have been excelling thus far. I wouldn't say they've picked up where they left off simply because Coach Gaddis is gone, Sainristil said. We have a new OC, not new OC in the sense of it's somebody completely new, but for the first time, we have someone else calling plays. So everyone's just been trusting what Coach Moore has going on, and Coach Weiss, and they're doing a good job understanding the old concepts as well as the new concepts. And the offense looks really sharp right now. Cade and JJ are doing a great job with the receivers, the running backs look really good. Olu, who just came in as a center, is doing really great. Right now the whole O-line looks really good. So I'm just excited for what we have to bring this year. Michigan will open up the 2022 season on September 3rd when it hosts Colorado State. More, every day is a battle in there. How the Michigan defense tests Remington finalist Olu Oluwatimi in fall camp. Current Michigan football looking to raise team standards, refuse to be old Michigan. How the Michigan football wide receivers separate themselves amid a loaded room. Watch. Michigan football players in preseason week 2. The Penn State glorification has to stop.
Earlier in camp, I was doing I was kind of splitting equal reps, but as the weeks have gone on, I've been focusing mainly on defense, simply because I want to make sure I understand the defense to a T. Given the fact I played offense 3 years, I want to do my best and soak in as much knowledge from the defensive guys as possible.
To the left side, Brian.
What have you learned about this team so far in fall camp?
Definitely a lot of grit on this team. A lot of young guys have, some stuff to them, that this team's going to need. And you know, like no one on this team right now is focusing on or banking on what we did last season. Everybody understands that this is a new team. We don't have those same guys we had last year. And even like as an individual, nobody is the same person they were last year. So, you know, as guys continue stepping into different leadership roles, everyone's just focusing on making sure that this upcoming team is the best team it could possibly be.
To the left, Isaiah.
The Big Tech Network was here last week. Afterwards they said that you guys seem like you were further along than you were at this time last year. What does that look like, especially considering last year we always heard about the energy, all that coming together. What does it look like this year in that way?
I would say sharpness in practice. You know, young guys being, you know, going from bridge, coming to practice, understanding like when they had their split time in practice, maze practice and boot practice, it helped them out tremendously, I would say. Guys are just very focused right now, and everyone understands that we want to make it further than we did last year. So it's just everything that plays into that mindset is what's helped us get to where we are right now, but we just know that we have a lot more to go.
Anthony?
I guess who are some of the guys or coaches that you've leaned on as you transition more to a defensive back role?
The whole DB room, I would say, and Coach Clink, Coach Mallory, Coach Jay. You know, that's pretty much everybody that has helped me transition to playing defensive back since the spring.
What is your comfort level now with just sort of understanding the defense and sort of the nuances of it?
I understand the defense. I know base personnel, nickel personnel, dime personnel. I'm comfortable in practice right now, of course, but I still have no games played under my belt. So until then, I want to know how comfortable I really am. And even then, you know, games are going to go along. I'm going to be put in different situations I've never been in simply because I'm on the new side of the ball. So will I ever be 100% comfortable this year? Who's to say? But, you know, I'm going to play to my best ability at all times.
Back to the left side, Isaiah.
You've been able to tell us generally as a receiver what other receivers have impressed you, you know, just by playing alongside them in practice. But now that you're on the defensive side, who's been the harder ones to go up against when you're playing as a defensive back?
Roman, you know, Roman's really fast. Ryan's really detailed with his routes, and he's been looking really sharp since he's been back off his injury. Payne O'Leary is one that's coming up right now, walk-on guy, but I don't even look at him that way. I think he's right up there with anybody who's on scholarship. He's doing really well right now. Cornelius and Jarrell, AJ, everyone looks really good right now. So that's a good thing for them, and it's great for us as DBs. Like, that's a level of competition we need to help us get to where we want to be.
So were there schools that were recruiting you to play defense, and did you think there was a chance that was where you would end up in college?
Yeah, so I was originally committed to Virginia Tech. I was going to play both ways there. Coach Brown recruited me to play defense here. When I got here, I said I'd rather play offense. Pretty much everywhere I was getting recruited was either offense or defense. They're like, I'm pretty sure the decision was end up being in my hands anyway. I just always wanted to play offensive because I just like having the ball in my hands. I like making plays. But since I've been here, I was always joking around with the defensive coaches, you know, saying whenever you guys need me to play defense, let me know, I'll come and play. And when Coach Zordich was here, he had me learning some defense late in the 2020 season. Last year, I was joking around with Coach Clink and Coach Mike McDonald saying, put me on defense. Even the Ohio State week, I was saying, put me on defense. So, like, so did I know it was actually going to happen? No, but, you know, I'm glad it did. I like where I'm at playing defense right now, and I know it's going to help me when I, you know, next level. So I'm enjoying the process.
Okay, thank you all. We're going to keep Mike moving. Roman Wilson will be stepping in next.
Olusegun.
Like going against Mozzie Smith and some of those guys on the interior of the defensive line?
It's a challenge. Maz is a big, strong individual. He's quick, also very athletic. But it's not just him. You know, we got Jenkins. He's a dog. Cam Good is grad transfer. Mason Graham is a young dude. George Rooks here. I mean, the list goes on and on. Every day is a battle in there. I got to bring it up or I'm going to get my butt kicked. So, yeah.
Isaiah?
With kind of that in mind, how much different is it for you to be going through fall camp, going up against those guys compared to both fall camp in Virginia as well as the ACC competition?
Man, you know, I went against great players in the ACC. I had some great D linemen at the University of Virginia when I went there. So, I mean, you know, Mozzie's definitely at the top of the list. Jenkins definitely at the top of the list. Those guys, you know, they present a great problem. But there's also, you know, there's great D linemen across the country. So to say that I haven't faced any great D linemen until I got here would be a lie.
Blue team owns a title no Michigan squad has carried in 20 years, outright conference champs. Now, a year after beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten, and reaching the playoff, expectations are for nothing short of a repeat. Cade McNamara blossomed a year ago at quarterback, but will once again be pushed by J.J. McCarthy. Still, a new look O-line and a new leader in the front of the room makes this year's Michigan offense both somewhat unknown and unquestionably intriguing. Defensively, it's impossible to fill the cleats left behind by Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, and Dax Hill, not to mention the departure of DC Mike McDonald. Still, returning starters like DJ Turner and Mozzie Smith see no reason for a dip in production. Smith standing by with Joshua Perry.
Guys.
Mozzie, there have been some changes on defense at the coordinator position, also some turnover with players from last year. But looking at practice, it seems like you guys have really hit your stride just in terms of keeping continuity. What has gone into that process throughout the offseason, through the spring and up to now, where it seems like you haven't missed a beat?
I think the first thing is, you know, our new coordinator, you know, he come from the same system. You know, so he bringing a lot of the same stuff, just a few add-ons to what we already had. So we were able to really keep the ball rolling. You know, nothing really struck us as a change in the system or a change in how we're getting coached or how we're doing things. So we're able to just keep on practicing and keep getting better at the stuff we already did.
I know a big thing for you guys last year in terms of defense was the leadership that you had, and some of those players are gone. How do you plan as one of the leaders on the defense now with some of the other guys to fill that leadership for you?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate. You know, the plays you make will speak louder than the words you say. So the reps you run, the extra reps you take, the attention to detail, it all set an example and set a precedent for how things are supposed to be done. You know, you don't got to say much, just got to do it.
You had Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, Chris Hinton on that defensive line last year. What did you learn from those guys that you're going to put into your game for this year?
Just laser focus, you know what I'm saying, and understand that the sky is the limit. You know, those guys didn't put a limit on themselves. Those guys decided to take what they had and run with it. You know, just try to be the best you. Don't try to be like anybody else.
When